Well, we hope a lot of family and friends visiting for the Mount Carmel Feast the weekend. Hope you're enjoying your visit. Beautiful weather we've had. We're very grateful. You know, these feasts and festivals of our Catholic parishes, they're really the big fundraisers. They support these churches in a beautiful way. A lot of volunteers, a lot of work, a lot of people come to patronize and enjoy them, these feasts and festivals. It's tough to raise money in these churches. I know one priest recently stood up during Mass. He said, listen, I got to get $3,000 today to fix something in the church. And he said, if somebody gives me a check for $3,000 today, I'll let them pick 3 songs, 3 hymns for the Mass. And this little old lady with white hair, God bless her, she's about 89 years old. She stepped out with her cane and she goes, Father, I'll give you a check today for $3,000. He said, thank you. He said, now pick your 3 songs. Pick the 3 hymns you want. And the old lady looked around. She said, I want him, him, and him. I mean, you know, no. You know, 89, it never ends, does it? So, I don't know about you, but if I see a movie or read a story, or if I watch a show on TV, I like it to be very simple. I like a good guy and a bad guy. The one who's, you know, good and the one who's bad. I don't like when they make it more complicated. You think this one's the bad guy, and at the end, he ends up being good. Just give me good cop, bad cop type of story. Well, you might think at first that this little episode in the gospel, that it's kind of like that. Jesus goes to visit in the village of Bethany, which was a suburb of Jerusalem. It still is. He often went to the home of Martha, Mary, their young brother Lazarus. And he went there more than once. He kind of mooched there, lunch or dinner, you know. I know what that's all about, you know. And you'd think at first, well, wait a minute. It seems like Mary's the good guy in the story. Our Lord says she chose the better part. She would sit at his feet in the living room, listen to our Lord, talk, teach, give stories. And it sounds like he's kind of putting down her sister Martha. She was in the kitchen preparing the lunch or whatever it was. She's got her apron, she's stirring the sauce, she's taking something out of the microwave. She says, I gotta give the good china. We can't eat on paper. It's Jesus who's with us. So at first, it sounds like one is good, gets our Lord's approval, and the one doesn't. But that's not true at all. That's not it. Although that has bothered people for many centuries. They say, why did Jesus say to poor Martha working, you know, your sister chose the better part? Well, I'll tell you why. Because what Mary did, listening to Jesus, we could say it prayerful, listening, reflection. She's making God in the center of her life. And then everything else will fall into place. Her sister Martha maybe is doing a very good thing. She's providing the hospitality. Hospitality is the beginning of holiness. If you don't know how to receive a guest at the table, how are you going to welcome our Lord into your heart? So Jesus is saying, no, Mary chose what you should choose first. Put God in the middle of your life. Very important. And then all the other things that Martha's worried about, they'll all fall together. St. Augustine, our great saint, once said, love God with your heart and mind and soul. Everything else will fall into its proper place. But if you don't have faith or God in the center of your life somewhere, then you're going to get discombobulated and twisted and thrown for every little thing that comes your way. You know people like that. I mean, the washing machine breaks, their whole life is ruined, you know what I mean? But if you have that faith, that God's presence in the center, you can deal with just about anything that comes your way. So the lesson in this beautiful little story in the village of Bethany, the lesson for you and I, if we want to be companions of Jesus, Catholic, Christian people, we need a healthy, well-balanced, happy, spiritual life, or I call it life in the Spirit. Well, how do you do that? You blend Martha and Mary. You make time for reflection, prayerful listening, being still, praying, sacraments, Mass. But on the other hand, you put your faith into action. You do something to make the scene a little better. She provided the lunch that day. What can you and I do? Things many people already do. Well, keep it going. I know one person, he goes once a week, he volunteers at the Mother Marian soup kitchen down there. God bless him. And I say, Chiba, why don't you go to Mass some weekend too? He goes, no, I'm covered because I help here. I volunteer, I'm doing something good. I say, well, that's half the ball game. That's one side of the coin, but it's not a complete life in the Spirit for you. Do what you're doing, but also come to this dwelling house where God is present. Enjoy the sacraments. But then I know other people that if you could let them go to Mass 3 times a week and go to confession every 5 hours, and if they could light 100 candles and say 10 rosaries, they would do it. But if you said, could you ever, maybe once a month, visit somebody, volunteer at the soup kitchen, help out in the parish, do something there? Oh, no. No, first of all, I don't have any time. I'm always praying. So it's the blend of the two. It's the blend of the two that our Lord is saying. Mary has chosen the better part. First, she's got God's presence established in her heart. So everything else will fall into place for her. And she will do what Martha's doing too. And the two of them together make for a very happy spiritual life. So now, did you, this weather this weekend is grateful. Thank you, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, for the beautiful weather. It almost makes you forget those snowy days. Remember a few months ago? Oh, Maran, the snowy we had. I know one priest last winter, he was looking out the window of the rectory, and it was snow coming down, the wind was blustering, cold, and he saw a shape, a person out there looking in his window. And the priest looked, he said, it's the blessed Lord. It's Jesus himself. He didn't know what to do. He called his priest in the other church. He said, what do I do? The other priest said, I don't know. There must be something holy and very special we should do. He said, I don't know. Let's call the bishop. They called the bishop that night. He said, I've got the Lord looking in my window. He's out there in the snow and the wind. And the bishop said, I don't have any idea. I never heard of this. You sure? Yes, he's looking in my window of the rectory. The bishop said, let's call the Pope. They called the Pope, and he said, Holy Father, what should I do? Something special, something holy. And the Pope said, is he looking in your window? Yes, there he is. The Pope said, look busy. Look busy.